I got my notes. I got my notes for tonight's live. I'm excited to be with you guys. Even though there's a heck of a football game going on right now with my man Tom Brady. So I hope somebody can do us all a favor and keep us updated on the game, because I guess it's coming down to the wire here right now, and I'd like to stay updated on it, but that doesn't stop me from getting on, or you from getting on the stream tonight, because we all want to get better. Tonight, I'm excited about tonight. We got some really good stuff I want to talk about time blocking. But let's see what we got. PRK125 says the GOAT about to win. Awesome. I hope that's the case. Welcome, Sean. Welcome, my man, Freddie. Welcome, my buddy, Jason Wasser. My buddy, Derek Godwin. Welcome aboard, my friend. Dan Polson, welcome aboard. My buddy, Rico, welcome aboard. It's great to see you guys. I hope everybody's had a very productive weekend. And what we're looking to do now is we're looking to get prepared for the week. I mean, please tell me that you spend time preparing for the week or for the month or for the quarter or even for the year, or even better yet, as I talk about in this book, You Need More Money, Your Life. I hope we are preparing and building a lifestyle by design, as I talk about in this book, You Need More Money. I talk about it as the primary principle of the book, man. We need more money so we can live our lifestyle by design. Welcome, Adam. Hope to see you. Oh, Derek is down in Seaside. Oh, you lucky dog down there. That is one of my favorite spots. I told some of you that the Rocker and I, in the near future, will be buying a place in Rosemary Beach. And if you've never been down to that area, that 30A stretch in the Florida Panhandle, you should. It is one of the most beautiful spots in the world. We absolutely love it down there. So welcome, Ronnie. Welcome, Kyle. Welcome, Dan. Welcome, David and Aaron. Great to see you guys. We got Portland, Oregon in on the house. I know we got Florida on the house. Welcome, John. Good to see you. Awesome. So, guys, look, I welcome, Jimbo. Nice to see you, too. I want to talk about the specific topic of tonight, because this topic is so important to me, because I hated it. I absolutely hated time blocking for so many years. And I'm not talking like a couple years. I'm talking probably 18 of my 24, now 24. This is the start of our 24th year in business. Of my 24 years in business, I absolutely despised time blocking. I thought that time blocking on my calendar was stealing my freedom. I wanted to have the ability to control my day without necessarily having to be confined by by time blocks, by specific commitments is really what it was. I didn't really want to commit for specific time frames. I really wanted to have this open sort of blank canvas every day. I thought that was freedom. I was wrong about that. I was totally wrong about that, because as I've come to learn, there are really three phases of your focus, if you will. There are three phases of your use of time. And I want to go into all three of them tonight. And I definitely want to make sure that everybody is welcomed for taking time with me tonight, which means you're taking time with you and this community that we're building of like-minded people who are at one stage in our lives, and we are willing to do the work to get to the next stage. So I celebrate everybody tonight. I appreciate shares and likes. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Matt Manero, and we've got some scores coming on here. The Pats just fumbled and the Chiefs scored. It's going to be an unbelievable fourth quarter. But stick with me, because this is going to be an unbelievable stream tonight. My name is Matt Manero. I'm the author of a couple books. Got a very successful podcast called You Need More Money. But most importantly, I founded a business a long time ago, 24 years ago, called Commercial Fleet Financing in a dumpy one-bedroom apartment. I literally started it with a phone and a folding table and a Yellow Pages. And in 2008, 2018, that company, through the help of my amazing team, this incredible group of people that I work with, the company did 158 million bucks. So I know a lot about business, and I'm willing to share it with you in my methodology, the way I had to learn the hard way. And maybe you don't have to take 24 years to get your piece of the American pie. Maybe by us working together, you can condense it. Luke says he loves the podcast. Thank you, my friend. Everybody wants to give Sebastian, Alberto's son, Sebastian, a shout out. Let's go ahead and give your son a shout out. If anybody on Instagram wants to jump on the stream, please let me know what it is you want to talk about. I'm happy to bring you on. Last night we had my buddy Brad Lee on. He added a lot of value last night, so that was cool. Let's keep rocking and rolling. Here's my point for tonight. There are 3 phases of your use of time. I've seen it so many times, time and time and time again, that I'm convinced these are the 3 phases of time. So let's get into it. The first phase, the first utilization of your time, is getting laser focused on your production. In other words, you've got to get yourself on the road to get your piece of the American pie. That's the first phase of utilization. Now listen, if you haven't gotten to that phase yet, you're probably not going to get much value from me, because I really can't get you from the absolute bottom. It's not my job. My job is to get you when you've achieved a little bit of success and really begin to crank it up. Or if you've actually achieved success, how do you get uber successful? I can help you with those. But if you're still looking around and wandering and all that sort of stuff, listen, I really don't know how to help you with that. I always had a vision. I had a vision of getting my piece of the American pie from very, very early on, and I was able to get it. But it started with me having this laser focus on my production. How do I produce me? Not how do I build a team? How do I get investors? How do I get my corporation papers filled out? What my website's going to look like? What's the logo on my business cards? I didn't care about any of that sort of stuff. I needed to get myself paying for myself. I needed to get tokens spitting out of the machine called my business and my life. That was the first laser focus of my utilization time. And I challenge you to make sure you're on that first phase of time utilization. How do you get yourself productive, right? It's the first phase of time, but then something happens after that. What ends up happening is you get caught in what my friend Coach Michael Burt calls the current of the urgent. And Coach Burt has this wonderful saying. I've heard it used in other terms, but I like how Coach talks about it. You can't see the picture when you're inside the frame, right? You're just in the second phase of your time utilization. You just are caught in this constant current of the urgent. For those of you on Instagram who want to join the stream, stay with me, because I'll let you in just a little bit. I want to get through these first 3 phases of time utilization. I want to educate. I want to teach for a little bit here tonight. The second phase is incredibly dangerous. It's this phase where you're caught in this current of the urgent, where everything that's coming to you is putting you in an extremely reactive mode. And therefore, you've stopped this production. Maybe you're now in a more management phase of your business, or even maybe in a more client management phase of your career, in which your production is no longer connected to you anymore. It's connected to other people. And through that, it's a very difficult transition in our utilization of time, because we begin to keep the spending habits of when we were producing, but now we have other skill sets that have to be learned and deployed in order to keep the token spitting out machines. And a lot of people begin to just stop moving the needle, and they get caught in this hamster wheel where we just spin cycles. Every day is just this question in our businesses of what's going to happen today. Who am I going to be reactive to today? What problem is coming to me? What is about to happen that I don't know? This current of the urgent, this chaos that gets created in the second phase of our time utilization is incredibly dangerous. And we have to get through that so we can get to the third phase. And the third phase of our time utilization, our time blocking strategy, is where we are doing only the things that produce incredible value. It becomes a value in, value out proposition. I'm going to give you a layout. I'm going to visualize a funnel for you. In the early days, when we're producing in the first phase of time utilization, we have a funnel that looks very much like this. It's very wide at the top and very narrow at the bottom. If you can see my hands here, I'm producing a very narrow bottom. The bottom is dollar bills. The top is energy, effort, focus, drive. It's throwing noodles on the ceiling to see what sticks. And then eventually that morphs a little bit and the bottom opens up and maybe even the top closes a little bit. We're starting to put stuff in the top and it's starting to come out the bottom. We start like this and then it begins to move like this. And so many people vacillate back and forth between this wide, narrow, wide, narrow. See, I'm not that coordinated, but you get the picture. And ideally, eventually in the third phase of your time utilization, you want that funnel to be like this. You want to put it in at the top and it comes out at the bottom. You want to put value in at the top and value comes out at the bottom. So it starts like this, moves to this, vacillates back and forth for a long time, and eventually you want it to go like this. So that you know if you're putting something in at the top, it's coming out at the bottom. And that's the primary principle of tonight's message for everybody. So again, I want to make sure that everybody is welcomed. I want to appreciate everybody for spending time with me. I want to welcome Ryan and Bruno and Kimberly and my buddy Terrence Freeman. Good to see you, my man. Blake is on board. It's awesome. Miro, good to see you. Bob, good to see you. My buddy Judge Graham just jumped on. I love it. So good to see you guys. Thank you for taking time to be with me. And don't forget, if you want to update the score of the game, please do so, because we're doing this right now, but I'd like to get a flavor of what's going on. John Bowman Jr. says it sounds familiar. Of course, man, we all go through this. This is the early stage. This is this middle stage. And eventually we want this stage. Unfortunately, most of us never get to this. We get stuck in this current of the urgent all the time. Someone saying thank you for my CFF jacket. Thanks, big brother. I love this jacket. This was a gift we gave out to everybody recently. I tell you, in the early days of CFF, I never spent money on swag. Now we spend a boatload of money on swag. And it looks good. We got hats, jackets, shirts, the whole 9 yards, koozie, everything. A whole storage closet full of it. All right, so now how do we fix it? How do we make the adjustment? Now that we get the concept of what our time utilization is looking for, how do we fix this, man? How do we get this funnel versus this funnel? We do it through time blocking. We literally become a slave to our calendar, and that might suck to you. You might be like, oh my God, I can't do that. That's not my creative spirit. I need the freedom. I don't want to be a slave to my calendar. But I'm telling you, when you become a slave to your calendar, you get all of that stuff. So let me give you the strategy that I've used for at least the last 5 years. If you were to look at my Outlook calendar, you would see a tremendous amount of time blocking. And I'm going to give you the visualization of it. I actually wish I'd be able to show it to you. If I was just on Instagram, I'd be able to turn to my laptop and I'd show you, but I can't because we're doing Instagram and Facebook. But if you were to see my Outlook calendar, the first thing you've got to do to start maximizing and time block is Luke, is that 17-14 Pats or is that 17-14 Chiefs? You've got to fill up the calendar. The first responsibility you got to have is you got to use a calendar. And I'm not a big fan of paper calendars. I like electronic calendars. I like that calendar to sync with my phone and my laptop and my desktop, so I know exactly where I am right on the fly. I can see whether I'm busy, whether I can take an appointment or not. You got to fill up your calendar. So I guess first thing is you got to use one, not paper, electronic. The second is you got to fill that sucker up. You got to figure out a way to remove the white space. And the beautiful part about an electronic calendar, or I guess a written calendar too, is you're able to see the openness of your calendar. And the reason you might be struggling is because you're not using a calendar, and therefore you cannot see the blanks, the open space that you have. So you got to fill the calendar. But then once that calendar is filled, you've got a time block. You've got to literally say, I'm willing to give this much time for this activity, whether that's, and I'll use it in a sales capacity, whether that's cold calling, whether that's working out, whether that's family dinner night, whether it's date night with your spouse, whatever that utilization of your time is, it needs to be blocked. Like, for example, if someone was to call me and say, I want 15 minutes of your time, thank you, Luke, for the update. If someone says, I want 15 minutes of your time, I can find 15 minutes. But if someone says, I'd like to have a conversation with you, I can't give you that time. I don't know. Is that going to be 15 minutes? Is it going to be 30 minutes? Is it going to be an hour? I got to time block you. And when you start to talk to the players, to highly successful people who understand the valuation of time, they can find 15 minutes for you. But the reason they're saying no to you is because they know it takes longer than 15 minutes. And they don't even know exactly what you want to talk about. So if you can get very structured on your utilization of time, you end up being able to be more respectful of the other person's time. So step number one is you got to use a calendar. You must be a slave to the calendar. Do not think that it's going to steal your time and freedom and create. It doesn't. In fact, it gives it to you. The second thing is you got to fill it up. The third thing is you got to time block your activities. Is it going to take you 15 minutes? Are you going to cold call for 2 hours? Are you going to work out for an hour? Well, then how long is it going to take you to take a shower? What's the ride to the office? What are you going to do during the ride to the office? How long are you taking for lunch? What are the follow-up phone calls? What are the meetings or the rhythms that you may have that you need to be part of? And all of it needs to be filled up into your calendar. And here is the last step where the magic actually comes. You need to color code those activities. I'm going to share with you the 4 colors that I use on my calendar. Not in any specific order, but I will tell you what's most important to me. My calendar is broken up into a color scheme. I have things that I need to be working on, preparation, things that need my attention and my work are color coded in my calendar in yellow. Yellow means I got to do work before this meeting happens. The second color that I use often in all the time, not often, all the time, is red. And red means I don't want to do it, but I got to do it. Sometimes you just got to do shit you don't want to do. But in my calendar, it's in red. The third color, which is my favorite color, is purple. When I time block an activity in purple, it means I don't have to be the leader of that activity. I get to be the follower. I get to ride on it. For example, if I have a department head in my company and we have a rhythm together, very rarely am I is that in yellow or in red. It's almost always in purple. Why? Because I enjoy the activity and I don't have to lead it. The employee, my department head, is leading that meeting, that rhythm. They're reporting their findings for the day or for the week or for the month or for the quarter to me. So I get to just ride on it. Purple means fun. And the last color that I use is green. And green is a money-making activity for me. It means I'm talking about investment strategies. It means I'm talking about, perhaps in my business, banking relationships. Perhaps it's cold calling to make money. Perhaps it's a meeting with my accountant, my controller, in which we need to talk about budgetary or strategies. Maybe there's excess profits in the business and I'm entitled to a distribution. That is time blocked in green for me. So now here's what your calendar looks like. You have yellow, you have purple, you have red, and you have green. And you want to drive your life by design based on the colors that you have. So I would tell you, you don't want your calendar to be filled up with a ton of red. In the early days of time utilization, it might be. You might need to just cold call all damn long for years. Might only be red. Cold call, cold call, cold call all day. Down. Dude, I did it for years. I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to cold call like that anymore. Remember the funnel? I want that funnel to look more like this. Remember this example I gave a minute ago? Most of you have funnels like this. Then it moves to this, back and forth, in and out, current to the urgent, chaos. And eventually you get a lifestyle by design, which is I put value in the top and I get value at the bottom. I also don't want a tremendous amount of yellow. Yellow means we're working through it, we're trudging through it, we're figuring out how it's going to work, we're scoping it, we're whiteboarding it, we're war rooming it. All of these, by the way, are business finishing school principles. and I do want to talk about Business Finishing School. If this stuff makes sense to you, this exists in my Business Finishing School. And we have our event coming up in February, February 22, 23, and 24 in Dallas, Texas. You need to go to bfssummit.com. If someone would be kind enough and put that in the comments section, I would appreciate it very much. bfssummit.com, bfssummit.com, for you to learn more about exactly what I'm talking about, the process to remove the chaos and the current of the urgent and actually build systems to grow your business. Business Finishing School took my business from 100 million to 158 million. I'm the best testimony you can get for it. Thank you for putting that in there, Megan. I appreciate that. All right, let's keep rocking and rolling to the final. So we got yellow, we've got red. I really only want purples or greens on my calendar. So if I look at my calendar and for the week, I have nothing but reds and yellows, I don't have a Lifestyle by Design week set up. By the way, you're going to have some of those, but you don't want the whole week set up like that. You want less reds, some yellows, certainly some greens, and lots of purples. Purples for me on my calendar could be a workout, which I now enjoy. Purples for me could be the rhythms that I have with my team, which I love. Purples for me could be our weekly scrum. Purples for me could be family dinner night. Purples for me would be going to my kids' game at 7 o'clock at night. Purples for me would be date night with the rocker. All that stuff is purple. I want to do activities that are color-coded in purple for me, okay? So if you were to just take what I'm talking about tonight and look at it in your own world, I guarantee you, most of you do not have a functional calendar that you're using. That calendar has way too much white space on it. The calendar is not, even if it's filled, it's not properly time blocked. And once it's time blocked, it's not color coded to create your Lifestyle by Design so that you're doing things that you want to do that change your funnel from this and turn your funnel into this. This is Lifestyle by Design. Now, do me a favor and drop in the comment section if what I just talked about is a benefit to you. Tell me if you think you just got value from being on this stream. And by the way, please tell me what's going on with the game. I want to see the GOAT. Adam Webster said 21-17, 7 minutes left. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate that. So tell me if you think what you just heard tonight was beneficial for you. Again, I'm going to go through the 3 steps, and then I want to take all the questions that you guys have on this. There are 3 phases of your time utilization. The first is, how do you get yourself productive? How do you create some activity in your life that you can trust and that you know gets you your piece of the American pie? How do you build something that spits out tokens? But then the second phase that happens is this value proposition seems to get real squiggy and real crazy for you. It's like everything I do is reactive. I'm not in control anymore. I'm constantly chasing. I'm chasing human resources problem or cash flow problems or vision problems or future problems. I just can't get my hands on it, right? I'm in the current of the urgent. And then the last phase is this value in, value out, where your funnel drops value in the top and you feel so confident that it comes out in the bottom, all right? Okay, so let's do a couple questions here. And I want to jump on it. Paul Martin says, do you have any advice for people who operate a service business? Every time I fill a calendar, someone calls with an emergency. That sounds like a people person or a process. I mean, dude, the service business is about handling emergencies for people and helping people with their problem, whether you're a plumber or you're something else. But that's a people problem, dude, and a process problem. I mean, if it's just you need to figure out that production piece so you can spit off enough cash so that you can bring in somebody else so that you can delegate that emergency or that problem to that person so that you're not caught doing that constantly, all right? Let's keep rocking and rolling on some questions. Fred Ward says, it is my belief and most effective way to keep track of the chaos in your day. Not sure exactly what you're talking about there, my friend. Mike Ficara put that in. Thank you for putting in BFS Summit. you guys need to go to BFS Summit. I'm going to give you this. I swear this is the last time I'm giving this discount. Capital MATT, all caps, 400. You get $400 off to come to my summit in Dallas, Texas. Elena Cardone's keynoting, Tim Story's keynoting, I'm keynoting, my partner Rick Sapio is keynoting, Ivan Meisner, Rand Stagen. The list goes on and on of incredible people. But most importantly at BFS Summit is we give you 3 deep dives where we will take the content within Business Finishing School and we will force you to do the work in what we call deep dives. And we're doing 3 of them for this year. Samuel Salazar, my new friend, Samuel Salazar says, what if you have everything like work ethic, but no idea for a business? Dude, you got to get my book. You Need More Money. Go buy this book on Amazon right now. It's the best $15 you could possibly spend, and follow the roadmap. The answer to Samuel Salazar's question is you must find the right platform. And Samuel and I were trading a conversation on LinkedIn earlier today in which I said to him, there are 3 primary platforms. He's a senior in high school. And I was telling him there are 3 primary platforms that you as a senior in high school should be working on. The first is you should be really digging into artificial intelligence. The second is you should be digging into virtual reality. And the third is that you should be digging into cybersecurity. Those 3 phases, those 3 platforms are going to change the world like the computer and the internet changed the world. Trust me on that. The ability for artificial intelligence to impact our lives will be absolutely unbelievable. The impact over the next decade of just artificial intelligence will be unbelievable. When you want to add in virtual reality, I'm not so sure how that impacts on the cultural impact of virtual reality. I'm a little concerned about that, but nevertheless, it's here to stay and it's going to be real. And then of course, cybersecurity is never, ever, ever, ever going to go away. It will only become more important. I will add a 4th element to that many old industries, financing, banking, insurance, transportation, logistics, those are about to have a massive resurgence because there's a huge gap in the age of management. Many people are in their 40s and 50s and 60s, and they are about to, in fact, they're doing it now. They're out to pasture. You know what they're doing? They're saying, please don't fire my ass, man. I got 2 kids in college. I got a big house. My wife doesn't work anymore. Please don't blow my ass out. Let me just be a squirrel and hoard my nuts. For young people, you should think about those old sort of stagnant industries and think about how you can move in. In my industry of equipment financing, there's almost nobody in their 20s in that space. And there are lots of people in their 40s and 50s. That's a 20-year gap for a young hustler to come on in and crank it, okay? So let's keep rocking and rolling on questions. Again, if this was valuable for you, please let me know that you got benefit from tonight, because this is the 20th of January. We basically have 10 more of these. We've done 20 already, team. We have done 20 of these together. And I know that there has been tremendous value. And I want to give a shout out to Fred Ward, because Fred did something today. I saw it on social that popped up, and I want to give Fred a massive shout out. Fred actually took the advice that I had given a few nights ago about how do you get an outsider's influence. How do you get an outsider's influence? And I gave Fred and everyone on the stream the questions that you need to ask. And Fred went so far and he posted it on Facebook today. And Fred, I'm congratulating you for taking this information, putting it into play. But I also hope that you're starting to get the feedback that helps you. It helps you figure out, what are you good at? What do they think about you? All right. My friend Albert Preciado just jumped on. Albert, I think the world of you too, buddy. Thank you. I love your hustle and what you're doing to help people, my friend. So guys, we're going to turn to some questions now. Keep me updated on the game too, please. I want to see if my man Tom Brady, the GOAT, actually pulls this thing out. Pat's 4th and inches on the 9. All right, thank you, Terrence Freeman. I appreciate you for that update. So listen, that's the message for tonight, guys. This fascinating, thank you, Albert. Awesome. The ability to time block. If you're just catching this stream late, I need you to go back and rewatch this stream, from the beginning, because this concept of time blocking through color coding is perhaps one of the greatest things I learned, and that I have been able to force myself to be a slave to, and how everything I thought it was going to do. I thought it was going to steal my freedom. I thought it was going to steal my time. I thought it was going to make my life miserable, and that I was going to be confined. It's done the exact opposite. It's given me immense freedom to focus my time and my energy only on the things that I care about. I'm going to bring Samuel Salazar on, my young hustler, on right now. I want to hear what Samuel's got to say for himself, and learn from him. Don't forget to keep the game updates coming. My man.
Hi, Mr. Monero.
How are you, Samuel?
I'm great. How's it going?
Good. Do you know Lauren Reisenhuber?
Yeah, she sits next to me in macroeconomics.
Yeah, so her sister is my oldest son's girlfriend, and I was just asking her, and she said she knew you. Yeah, she said she knew you.
Yeah.
What's your question tonight, my man?
Oh, so my question, well, I think you already answered it, and it was the 3 platforms thing that you gave me: the cybersecurity, the AI, and there was one more. Virtual
reality.
VR, right,
Yep.
right.
Those are the 3, buddy. Those are the 3, and then I added a 4th tonight on the stream, Samuel, which is some of these.
Yeah. I got that.
Yeah, the old industries. You might want to think about that. So, Samuel, you want to go to Wharton Business School, right?
Yes, sir.
You got the grades for it?
I look bad. I just got home from the gym. Sorry.
Don't worry about that. You got the grades for Wharton?
Oh, yes, sir.
No kidding. Like, what's your SAT score?
SAT score, well, that's a little lower. That's around 350. But I have a perfect GPA, and then, actually a 4.1, and then everything else is kind of taken care of.
Like, what's your ACT score?
I just took the SAT, got
okay.
1350, but, grades is 4.1.
Yeah, there you go. Is that a 4.1 with AP classes?
Oh, yes, sir. Yeah, I have mostly APs right now.
Good for you. All right, that's good. I'd like to see that SAT score get up a little bit for Wharton, but
yeah.
Dude, listen, let me tell you something. You have a mind already, just by the questions you've asked today, dude. You're on the right track. You are on the right track. And
I wrote down equipment financing. I looked it up real quick because what you said is pretty valuable, how there's not a lot of young people exploiting that niche. And if someone like me can come along who is sharp like that, there's not going to be anyone else to do it. And so what you just said is great.
You got it. Listen, there's an opportunity for someone in those old industries in their mid to late 20s, if they've spent 5 years grinding in that, to get quickly promoted to what typically has been someone in their 30s or 40s position.
Like a managing director at Goldman or something.
Dude, you could save a decade because this 20-year gap has been created. So it's a very unique opportunity. So think outside the box. Let me know if you want me to come in and speak to your group at Carroll High School, Big. I'd be happy to do that, all right?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thanks for jumping on. Take care of yourself, Samuel.
Yeah.
Bye. Young hustlers, man. That's a senior in high school. This kid's cranking. He wants to go to Wharton. He's thinking about ways to not take this standard path. He's like, man, I'm ready. I feel good. What should I do? He's asking all the right questions, man. He's asking all the right questions. I probably should have told him to come to business finishing school. I didn't think about it for an 18-year-old kid, but that'd be a smart thing for him to do, because business finishing school, let me tell you something, I did business finishing school after my business did $100 million. If I had done business finishing school from day one, when the business was just starting, holy shit, who knows where I would have been, right? I wasted all those years figuring it out. Man, I went to cooking school, for goodness sake, right? I went to cooking school. I didn't know anything about finance, running a business, equipment financing, none of that stuff. So Freddie Ward wants to ask a question. Jump in, man. Anybody with questions, I'm happy to take them tonight. And let's not forget about the game. Let's keep popping up the game. We must be down. Are we at the 2-minute warning yet, Terrence Freeman? So go ahead, Freddie Ward. What's that question that you got? And guys, I hope tonight was very valuable, because I'm telling you, this simple strategy of understanding what part of this three-phase time utilization you are. This initial phase where you're just throwing noodles on the ceiling and trying to get some production to occur as a requirement. And then eventually it begins to morph back and forth like this, in which you're just caught in this mess called the current of the urgent. And then ideally, and very few people get to this, where we build a lifestyle by design, where the value that we're putting in the top is the value that comes out the bottom. And I promise you it occurs through your time blocking. When you are capable of building out your time. Yeah, Freddie, ask to come on in. Let me see if I can bring you in right now. Freddie, I'm going to bring you in right now. I'm bringing in my buddy Fred Ward on Insta. And don't forget, my man, how are you? Dude, you're 42 years old?
42.
Dude,
42 in March.
Dude, you look good for 42, man.
Dude, can I just tell you right now, you look phenomenal, man. I watched your transformation, and you're going to crush your goal. You're going to go above it, brother.
Thank
50
you.
and 50, you're killing it. I love it.
Thanks, man. It was 279 this morning. That's down 30. What is that? 30. I don't even do the math on that. 36 pounds. Today's day 90. It was so good to see a 7 in front of that dude, because that 286 to 280 took me like 3 weeks to break through that. So thank you for saying that, Fred.
Dude, I'm proud of you, and you look great.
Thanks, man.
Here's my question. Here's my question for you. You see me out there. Do I need a life coach, or do I need business finishing school?
Well, what do you do for a living, Fred? Walk me through it again.
For the last 21 years of my life, I've been in the automotive industry. I got into sales when I was 19. 2 months ago, I got out of that vehicle. I chose to start doing a TV show to help fathers who've been alienated from their kids, bring them back together, work with them. And then I started a podcast where I want to bring dads who've got knowledge to give to dads who don't. Those are 2 businesses. They're my passion. I love them, but they're zero income. I'm blessed to have a wife who said, don't go back into car sales. Follow this thing that you're so obsessed with and go all in on it. I got us for now. I can't take care of us, but I got us while you go all in.
All right. Well, I would challenge you that a coach isn't going to help you with that, dude. The only person that's going to help you, if you look at what we talked about tonight, it's the first phase of time utilization on this new business venture. It's here, right? Dude, you need to be throwing tons of noodles on the ceiling right now. Dude, gobs and gobs, like freakazoid amounts of noodles on the ceiling, and you're only going to get this much value out of it right now. That's just the way it is. Any new venture looks like this. So I congratulate you on your passion and awesome communication with your wife to be able to make that happen. But coach and a mentor, they're not going to help you through this right now, dude. You got to go and blow. You got to create this production vehicle right now in the new platform, and it's going to take a lot of work. Those are very hard spaces. Let me tell everybody straight up, there's not a chance in hell that I could do these lives or write books or do business finishing school if I didn't have the tokens that get spit out at Commercial Fleet. I mean, this is a tough space to get paid for. You know what I'm saying? This is a hard thing to build an audience, to get attention, all that stuff. It's hard. So I congratulate you for following your passion. But, dude, you're in this phase of the funnel, and the top is what matters, dude. You just need, like, literally 16, 18-hour days. And the most important thing you can do, Fred, is get crystal clarity on the message. As you know this because you're working with Hank. Get crystal clear on the message, and then partner up with influencers who like the message that you're doing.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for your time. I greatly appreciate everything you do. You are the man, Matt.
Thank you, Fred.
I look forward to meeting you.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I feel the same way about you. Take care of yourself, buddy.
You too, buddy.
Bye.
Thanks.
I love that guy, man. That guy is taking it and putting it into play. So, guys, I appreciate everybody being on the stream. If you're catching it late, don't forget to go back and watch tonight's replay. This is some good shit tonight. This is some shit that can change your life and the value production that you're getting in your life through understanding your time utilization, filling up the calendar, time blocking the calendar, and then color coding the calendar on what it is that connects to your lifestyle by design, so that funnel moves from this through this and eventually into this. Take care, guys. I'll see y'all down the road.